There is no career path that's more powerful than education in impacting our culture. Nationwide, we impact families, we impact communities, we impact the nation. Think about it. The people that you influence will be future leaders of families, leaders in our churches, leaders in our nation, leaders in Washington. One of you may be right now pouring yourself God's love and truth into one of the future presidents of the United States. Exciting impact. Now, if we're going to be really honest, sometimes we don't feel appreciated. Sometimes people don't verbalize how much they appreciate that we do for them. But it doesn't mean that it's less appreciated just because it isn't verbalized. Know that you're making a phenomenal difference, and know that the Lord sees all that you do. I'm going to have to think back to my own education. I still remember my second grade teacher. I didn't do so well in lower elementary school. I was a son in an immigrant family, didn't do the language real well. We still spoke a foreign language at home. And I remember that first teacher conference. My parents were nervous. I was scared to death. And that teacher looked my parents in the eye and she said to them, "You know, your son Finn is a good individual. He will do well in school. He will do phenomenally well as he goes up in the grades. You just need to continue to encourage him, and he will do well and he will succeed." And interestingly enough, those words were repeated many times within my family. I ran it through my head many times as I did become successful in school in the future. In fact, interestingly enough, I became an English teacher. Wouldn't you know it? That second grade teacher's words still echo in my mind today. What we say to our students makes a phenomenal difference. Now, I regret a little bit I never went back to that second grade teacher and told her how much I appreciated her. And you need to know that there are hundreds, maybe thousands out there that appreciate what you've done and have never verbalized it. Sometimes we get that reinforcement. I remember moving up in my career, I became a counselor, and I had this young man that in a middle school that I'm sure some of you would know. He was one of these students who thrived on being disruptive. He really wasn't interested in anything we had in school. And so he got a lot of negative feedback. Why? Because he earned that negative feedback. I started thinking to myself, what if I treated him as if he were created in God's image? Not endorsing his behavior, but endorsing who he was and who he could become. And I did that. I spent a lot of time with him. I encouraged him. I told him he was created in God's image. And I said that if he could control that behavior, I think he could become phenomenal positive impact in his family and in the community. And I said, even in this nation. Well, he did make a splash, if you will. He ultimately went after a teacher with a baseball bat and was expelled. Many years later, I moved on in my career. I went to another district. I was high school principal. He showed up there. You see, he followed up on his appreciation. He came to tell me how much he appreciated the things I said to him in middle school. He said to me, "You know, Mr. Larson, I realized you probably think I wasn't listening because I worked hard to make you feel that way, but I did hear what you said." Years later, I was jailed for selling drugs, and I was laying in my lower bunk one day, running through my mind the things you told me. And I want you to know, because of that, it drove me to accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And I want you to know that. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. You see, he was one of the few students who did come back to me and said those appreciative words. So I just want to encourage you today. You are making a difference. You will make a difference, even if what you hear are sometimes the negative complaints and the frustrations. Education, particularly in 2017, is a challenge. It's very difficult at times, but know that you are making a difference and you are appreciated. Keep making a difference.